मुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये चैतन्यं सर्वगं सर्वं सर्वभूतगुहाशयं यत्सर्वविषयातीतं तस्मै सर्वविदे नमः। Tattvamasi Mahavakya is being discussed here, and how the teacher communicates to the disciple. Idam purvam idam paschat padam vakyam bhavediti niyamo nibhavedesti pada sangatyam arsatah अन्वय व्यतिरेकाभ्याम ततो वाक्यार्थ बोधनम. So usually there is the arrangement of a sentence where there is subject and predicate, or uddesham and vidheyam. But we find that in Mahavakya, like Tattvamasi, Aham Brahmasmi, sometimes the word Tat is placed first, the word Aham is placed first. Aham Brahmasmi follows the general rule that Uddesham is first Aham, Vidheya, Brahma is later, but Tattvamasi, that rule is not followed. Niyamo Neva Vedesti, the general rule about a sentence is not always followed in the Vedas. Pada Sangatyam Arthataha, it is the meaning that is important, and that's how Pada Sangati, how the words are related and what's the sequence is determined by the meaning. Anvaya Vyatirekabhyam tato vakyartha bodhanam. Therefore, it is by Anvaya Vyatireka that the meaning of the Vakya, Mahavakya is communicated. Vakya Shrimananam Padanam Artha Samskriti. Mahavakya Shrimananam Padanam. The Tat and Tvam Pada are the words that are heard from the teacher, are revealed by the Shruti, Artha Samskriti. If the meaning of the Pada or the words is known to the disciple, if the investigation of what Tat means and Tvam means has been done by the disciple, and he knows what Tat and Tvam means independently, then when he is told Tattvamasi, then he knows the meaning by Anvaya Vyatireka. Anvaya, what is common to Tat and Tvam? Vyatireka, what is contrary to Tat and Tvam? That Tat is Paroksham, although Anantam. Tvam is Aparoksham, but Antavat Parichinnam. So Anvaya is of that consciousness is common to both of them, where remoteness and limitedness are the Vyatireka, they are uncommon. Therefore, negating those contradictory elements, So this is how he knows Tat and Tvam. And when he listens to Tat Tvam, this is what he does. He knows Tat also is consciousness, which is Paroksha and which is limitless. Tvam also is consciousness, aparoksha but limited. Both of these are equated. Therefore, by Anvaya Vyatireka, what is common is consciousness. Vyatireka, the contradictory ansha, is given up. So that is how, if the student knows the meanings of words Tat and Tvam, then Mahavakya Tattvamasi is understood by him by the process of Anvaya Vyatireka. Yada nityeshu vakyeshu padarthastu vivichyate vakyartha jnana sankrantya tada prashnona yujyate. So when the Acharya says Brahmasi, you are Brahman, then Shishya may ask, how can I be Brahman? I am a Jiva. That shows that he does not know the meaning of Tvam-pada. When the Shishya looks upon himself as Jivatma, limited, that means that he has not yet explored the meaning of Tvam. But if he has, if he knows that Tvam also means consciousness, then Vakya Sajnana Sankrantya, then for the teacher to make him understand the meaning of Mahavakya, Tada Prashnonayo, if he knows that I am consciousness, and then he understands Brahma also is consciousness, and he sees, then the Prashna, how can I be Brahman, does not arise if he knows the meaning of the words Tat and Tvam. Otherwise that will arise. Anvaya Vitirokokti Padartha Smaranayato Smriti Bhavena Vakyasa Jnatam Shakyo Ikena Chita. So the Anvaya Vitireka is Padartha Smaranaya. The Shishya knows Padartha, meaning of word Tat and Tvam. That has been investigated by him. In Mahavakya with Anvaya Vyatireka, then there is Smaranam. Oh, Tat means then, when Tat and Tvam are equated, then Tat means only consciousness, devoid of remoteness. Tvam means consciousness, devoid of Parichannatvam. So, Padartha Smaranayatu Anvaya Vyatireka Uktihi. The Uktihi, the uttering of Anvaya Vyatireka is for the disciple to remember the meaning of the words. Meaning that you can know the meaning of a Vakya when the meaning of the words occurs to you. Qual is Smriti? That you know independently meaning of the words which compose the sentence, and when a sentence is uttered, then each word creates a new Smriti as to what this word means, and then you understand the meaning of the sentence. So meaning of the sentence can be understood when the listener, in the mind of the listener, the Smriti or memory of the meaning of the words occurs, then he can understand the meaning of the sentence. So, Padartha Smaranayatu, what will enable the disciple to remember the meaning of those words Tat and Tvam? Anvaya Vyatireka. Anvaya Vyatireka are meant to help the student or enable the student to remember. It also means consciousness, that also means consciousness. Smriti abhavena vakyartho jnatam shakyo kenachit. When a sentence is when a statement is made, if the words making of the sentence do not create smriti of the meaning of those words, then the communication doesn't take place. It doesn't understand what's the sentence, what it means. But the words create in him the smriti, then you understand the meaning of the statement or vakya. So here teacher says, Anvaya Vyatireka are meant to enable the student to remember the meaning of those words. Anvaya vitarekokti padartha smaranayatu. For padartha smaranaya, for the remembrance of the padartha, the meaning of the padartha and tvam. So when that smaranam takes place, then vakyartha is, if that, because without anvaya vitareka, that padartha smriti will not take place. What is to be, what is retained, what is to be given up, that doesn't happen without anvaya vitareka. In that case, he cannot, there is no literal equation between the two. Equation is only when the viruddham bhagatyaga takes place. Therefore, the teacher here says why anvaya vyatireka is important to enable the student to know the meaning of the pada or the words, so that, or for him to remember the meaning of the words, so that he can understand the meaning of this sentence statement. Now continuing with the verse 181. Tatrapi, of the tat pada and tvam pada, even there also, tvam padartha viveka ativa prayatna karya iti. A great effort must be made for viveka, or understanding the meaning of the word tvam. Because so many complexes obtain about the self. Some complexes may obtain about Brahman also, but countless complexes obtain about the self. Because I am always aware of the self. Self-awareness is there. Awareness upadhi also is there. And therefore the superimposition, adhyaropa, is habitually going on. And therefore, habitually, without thinking, the self, the Atma, is taken as Jivatma with various limitations. So there are many, many complexes. We constantly experience the self. What we experience the most is our own self. And for a complex experience is necessary. When aware of something, that a misunderstanding can exist. So greatest, our Puja Swami used to say, the most used and most misunderstood word is aham, or I. Therefore, tvam padartha viveke ativa prayatna karya. For separating the Atma from Anatma, a great deal of effort is required, because there that identity is habitual. At the same time, identity occurs at many levels. Annamaya, pranamaya, manomaya, vijnanamaya, anandamaya, jagrat, swapna, sushupti, cross, sthula, sukshma, karana. Therefore, we find basically in Vedanta, tvam pada is most discussed. Even a book like Tattvabodha, a lot of text is devoted to explaining the meaning of Atma. And then, of course, Brahmasya, Mayasthi, etc., then Ishvara is explained. But a great part of the text is devoted to understanding the meaning of Atma kaha. Iti abhipretyaha. With this in mind, the next verse is stated, verse 181. Tattvamasyaadi vakyeshu tvam padartha vivekatah vyajyate naiva vakyarthah nityamuktohamityatah. Tattvamasyadi vakyeshu. When the Upadesha is given, Tattvamasi, tvam padartha avivekatah. if the viveka or discrimination about Tvam Padartha is not done, meaning Atma Anatma Viveka has not taken place, or meaning the word Tvam or Atma is not yet understood by the student, Vyajyate Naiva Vakyartha. Vakyartha, then the meaning of the statement Tattvamasi, na vyajyate, it does not strike, does not shine in the mind of the student. What's the meaning? Nitya mukto hamitya ataha. So ataha goes to next verse, the Tika says, Nitya mukto hamiti. So that is the Vakyartha, Nitya mukto ham. Only that aham is separated from anatma. Then we know that all bondage belongs to the anatma. And then when atma is equal to Brahman, which is limitless, then I see that I am limitless, ever free. That even when I thought I was bound, that was just a Brahma and not a reality. That bondage is only a Brahma, a delusion, not a reality. Therefore, all that is necessary to remove the delusion. Vichara prayojanam dridhayati. The purpose of vichara is now again firmed up here. Next verse says, Anvaya vitarekoktihi tadvivekaya nanyatha tvam padartha vivekehi panavarpita bilvavata. Tika says, Ataheti purva shlokadam padam asmin yojyam. The last word in the previous verse, verse 81, is ataha. And that's it brought to verse 182. Ataha anvaya vitarekoktihi tad vivekaya. Therefore, tad vivekaya tvam padartha vivekaya ityartha. Anvaya Vitareka is primarily stated for Tvam Pada Viveka, which is where greatest Aviveka is. If this Viveka is done, then Viveka of Ishvara also will be essentially done. When I see that the consciousness here is ever free from the limitation of Upadhi, it's not difficult to see that consciousness Ishvara is also free from the upadhi of Maya. Therefore, great effort has to be done with the Tvam Pada. Ataha anvaya vitarekokti tad vivekaya Tvam padartha vivekaya na anyatha. Not for any reason other than this. So, anvaya vitarekokti, this statement, utterance anvaya vitareka, is for Tvam Pada Viveka alone, not for anything else. Why is it so? Padartha vivek phalam spashtayati. Padartha vivek, Tvam padartha viveka, Tvam pada viveka. The Atma, I am the witness of an Atma. I am ever untouched by the limitation of an Atma. Yo ashnaya pipase shokam moham jaramutya matyeti etam vaitava atmanam viditva. So, even first parokshataya, and then you can see that fact. Tvam padartha vivekehi panu arpita bilvavata. Panu means in the palm. Like a bilva phala which is in your palm, how clearly you know, so also the meaning of Tattvamasi is known so clearly. The next verse also, Vakyartho vyajyate chaivam kevaloham padarthataha दुःखित्येतदपोहेन प्रत्यगात्मविनिश्चयात्. केवलः भेद संसर्ग शून्य वाक्यार्थ व्यज्यते. सो वाक्यार्थो व्यज्यते. What केवलः? So what is केवलः? भेद संसर्ग शून्य, भेद शून्य, संसर्ग शून्य, विशिष्टो वा संसर्गो वा विशेषो वा. So we saw that samsarga and vishesha. But tat and tva are not related like the blue lotus, Nilam Utpalam, nor are they related as Dandi Devdatta. So there is no relationship between them. Usually words are related to each other by Anvaya. So here there is no relationship. Samsarga is not, one doesn't qualify the other, or one is not qualified. And so samsarga of the guna guni, samsarga is also not there. And then Dandi Devadatta, Ram Gamana, that kind of Vishesha also is not there. So that is samsarga and this is Vishesha not there. Therefore, no relationship between the words. The possible relationship between the different words in a statement is samsarga, Vishesha. Either they are connected to each other because they are placed in appropriate vibhaktis, or they relate to each other as the Visheshana, Visheshya. So words will have these two kind of relationship in a sentence. But that relationship cannot exist, they cannot be applied to Tattvamasi. The Kevala, Veda Varjita, Veda Samsarga Shunya. There is no Veda or duality in Tad and Tvam, no Samsarga, no relationship between Tad and Tvam. Meaning they are identical. Vakya Saitanvaya. So that's how that Vakya becomes very clear. So Aham Padartha Viveka is done. Aham Padarthata. So Aham Padartha Tukki Tevat Etadapohena. Ahamiti Pratiyamanat Padarthat Tukki Itetat Atsamshasya Apohena. So then the disciple is able to drop, let go this conclusion that I am dukkhi. Ahamiti Pratiyamanat Padarthat. So when he sees Aham as equal to Brahman, or free from limitations, or consciousness, then he sees that the dukkhi cannot be connected to Aham. Etasya idam amshasya apohena. He recognizes that Aham dukkhi is a result of the aviveka, not separating the Atma from Anatma. Now he sees that dukkhi amsha belongs to Anatma. Therefore, sakshana visheshana nischayat. Then he sees that pratyekatma is a sakshi. I am the sakshi of dukkha also. And sakshi is nature is only consciousness. And because even sakshitvam also ultimately has to be dropped. And therefore, consciousness is the nature of sakshi, same as Brahman. And that's how the vakyartha vyajyate. That's how the meaning of the vakya, of the statement, shines, occurs, strikes in the mind of the disciple. Kevaloham, I am kevala, I am non-dual, I am limitless. Not there are two entities, Brahman and Atma, or Aham and Brahma. There is only one. And Aham Padartha Dukhi Tad Apohena. This happened when he first separated Dukhi from Aham Padartha. From Aham, this Dukhi comes is because the result of an identification. Dukhi is the result of Dukkha and Atma. So when he sees that the Dukhi itself involves aviveka, where viveka is applied there, then aham is free from dukkha. Then the aham can be known, see the equation with Brahman. So, dukhi idam amshasya. So there is anatma amsha idam amsha. Pratyagatmana sakshina visheshana nischayat vinischayat. So he knew Pratyagatma, but now as a sakshi. Is a witness of dukkha also. But dukkha has no connection at all. Evam uktena nyayena vyakyadeva aparoksha akhanda brahmatma jnanam upapadya idanim purvavadi kalpanayah nirmulatam aha tatrevamiti. Evam, in this manner, uktena nyayena, by the nyaya means the rule. How rule or the process that we describe. How Anvaya Viditatmananda enables a disciple to separate. So first he knows the Tvam Pada, he has already separated the Atma and Atma, and by Anvaya Viditatmananda also, he can eliminate Anatma also, as well as the equation between Brahman and Aham. Aparoksha, Akhanda, Brahmatma Jnanam. Aparoksham, Akhandam, Brahmahamasmi. I am Brahma, which is Akhandam, without divisions of Tat and Tvam or any other divisions. Aparoksha, my immediate nature, that Brahman is not removed, consciousness is myself. Upapadya. So with Upapatti of reasoning, this has been explained. Idanim Purvavadi Kalpanaya Nirmulatamaha. All this discussion arose because the Purvavadi, in the verse number 174, page 400, second paragraph, Nanu evam akhandartha nishthatvepi vakyasya na tavan matra parivasana muktam. He says that merely knowledge occurring from Vakya is not sufficient for moksha. Bodhamatrat phala asiddhe. Mere knowledge that I am Brahman cannot bring about moksha. Yatna antaram eshtavimiti. Therefore, some yatna, such as repeating Aham Brahmasmi. So, kriya parivasayita kasman na kalpyate. Merely knowledge cannot solve the problem. It has to become fixed. And therefore, some karma must be there in terms of prasankhyanam, repeating Aham Brahmasmi. So here the teacher established that this Upadesha, Mahavakya is sufficient to remove all the obstacles. See, you need to do something if the obstacles remain still in abidance of the knowledge. So he thinks that for abidance you need to repeat Aham Brahmasmi. Says no, knowledge doesn't require repetition for abidance, knowledge requires seeing. If seeing does not take place, then you remove obstacles to seeing. Not that you have not known the meaning of Aham Brahmasmi, keep repeating that. If you have not known, the repetition will not help. If you have known, it's not necessary. So coming back to this, Purvavadi Kalpanaya Nirmulatam Aha Tatrevamati, 1 verse 84. Tatrevam Sambhavatyarthe Shrutaha Anashrutarthadhihi Naivikalpahitum Yukta Padavakyartha Kovidaihi. Tatra evam sati evam sambhavati. So when this possibility is there, that Mahavakya can is capable of creating knowledge in you, and knowledge alone is sufficient to give you liberation, moksha. Shrutahana ashrutarthadi nemi kalpayitim yukta. Then Shrutahana, when the Shruti says you are Brahma, then you want to give that up, and Ashruta. Tattvamasi does not, Vakya does not involve any vidhi. So there is no Kriyapada there implying vidhi or injunction. No, they want to imagine that Tattvamasi means some karma. That means Ashruta. The vidhi which is not there is imagined by them. So, Ashruta Kalpana, Shrutahana. Shruti simply says and reveals the knowledge, so you want to discard that, and Shruti does not talk about any karma or effort, and you want to include that. These two things have to be done. Shrutahana, Ashruta Kalpana, Name Kalpayitam Yukta. It's not necessary. As explained in all these verses, when the Mahavakya itself is able to do this job, when proper conditions are established, when the disciple knows the meaning of the Tvam and Tvat, and particularly Tvam, when it is clear to him, then Vayanve Vyatireka he will know first meaning of the Tvam, and Mahavakya will reveal to him the meaning of the identity. Vakyadeva aparoksha, that Brahma is no more paroksham, aparoksham. Akhandam, there is no khanda, no separation between Tvam and Tat. There is no samsarga and there is no vishesha, etc., etc. Aparoksha, akhanda, Brahma Atma Jnanam, Brahma is Atma, that knowledge, upapadya. So, this has been now explained with reasoning. And then, so Purvadi Kalpana. Padavakyartha Kovidehi. Kovida means those who are experts. Padavakyartha Kovidehi. So those who are well versed in Pada, in the words and Vakya. So Padavakya Pramanataha. Because after all, the Upanishad is in form of the words, Vakyas. And Vakyas comprise of words. Therefore, what the teacher has to do is to explain the Vakya by first explaining the Pada and then the relationship between them. So you require a Padavakyartha Kovida. To explain the scriptures, what we need is a Guru who is Padavakyartha Kovida, well versed with Pada, Padartha and Vakyartha. Therefore, there is just no basis at all of imagining any action involved here, that the Shruti enjoins some effort. There is just absolutely no basis. So, nirmulatamaha, without any basis, that kalpana was without any basis. Kalpana is okay, provided it has some basis. But the kalpana of the Vadi had no basis at all. Yatha vyakhyanam vakyasya yatha shrutarthe sambhavati sati. Again, reiterating what has been stated. Yatha vyakhyanam is explained. Vakyasya yatha shrutarthe sambhavati sati. When Mahavakya suggests Tattvasi, he is able to do his job just as stated by the Shruti, without involving any effort of karma, etc. Sambhavati sati. If there is proper preparation on the part of the disciple, then this Vakya is able to do his job. So Sambhava is there. Shrutahanyadi kalpanam anavakashamiti. Therefore, to discard what the Shruti says and imagine something Shruti does not say has no need or no basis here. Iti uktam. This is what is stated. But there is another problem also. Pratyakshadi viruddhayarthe vakyasya bhadarshanat. Now understand that Vakya says that I am Brahman, the way you explain, but my experience is different. So pratyakshadi viruddhyartha, my experience is that I am a limited entity. So therefore, what the Mahavakya conveys contradicts my experience called pratyaksha. The Purvavadi Dushtantena Shankate. Purvavadi, Purvapakshi gives a Dushtanta, so explains his Shanka with the help of a Dushtanta. So the Tikakara explains the background of the Dushtanta. Yatha Krishnalan Shrapayetidi. So whatever that means, So ఇది కృష్ణల శబ్దవాచ్య సువర్ణమయ కణేషు. Krishnala means the particles of gold. Suvarnamaya kana. So, I don't know, particles of gold. So there are some rituals where this is required. Shruto vipakaha. Shrapayet means that you must cook. So you must cook the particles of gold. For some ceremony or some ritual, it involves then you do something with that cooked particles of gold. So therefore, you must cook particles of gold. Now, even if you boil these particles of gold, nothing happens to them. They don't get cooked. So, Krishna Shabdavachya Surnamaya Kaneshu Shruti Pakaha Pratyakshena Badhyate. Even the Shruti says you should cook the gold particles Pratyakshena Badhyate, regardless of how long you boil that, nothing happens to gold particles, they don't soften. Teshu Viklite Adarsanat, they don't become softened, they don't get cooked. However long you boil them. So then what the Mimamsa says that you don't have to take the word shrapayet or cook in primary sense. Kintu adustartha, you should understand that as boiling the gold particles in water, and even though says until they get cooked, you don't have to take it in a literal sense. It means that you boil these gold particles in water, because that imparts some adrushta, some samskara, some special quality to that gold particles, which when they are used in some ceremony, then that ceremony becomes more effective. So instead of offering simple gold particles, cooked gold particles, means boiled gold particles. So even the word cooked is used, you understand only boiled. Then why do they use the word cook? Because that process of boiling imparts some special ability, power. Huh? Accelerate here, adrushta means that they get some special quality. What gold particles themselves cannot do, these boiled gold particles have a greater power. So when it is used, then that ritual becomes more effective. So it is not meant for, the cooking is not meant in primary sense. It is drustartha to impart some special ability to the gold particles. So this is the Mimamsa Nirnaya in that place. So that is brought here. Kimtu advashtadeva samskaraha tatra pakakriya sadhya. So it is not shrapanam, it is not cooking, it is imparting some special quality to the gold particles, which is what happens by boiling them. Evam ihapi akhandartadam vakyasya pratyakshadi pramanani bhedgrahakani badheran. So just as pratyaksha pramana in that case, they contradicted the statement that you should cook the gold particles. So also here the pratyaksha experience that pratyakshadini pramanani vedagrahakani. The pratyaksha pramana means the sense perception. Sense perception reveals that the world is different from me, Ishvara is different from me, vedagrahakani. And because of that Bheda also, next complex that is created is I am confined to this upadhi and I am limited. So akhandarthatam vakyasya badheran. Therefore, this pratyaksha anubhava that Brahman is different from me, that I am limited. So akhandarthata, that I am Brahman, that akhandarthata vakyasya pratyakshadini pramanani bhedagrahakani. Perception is the first one, then inference also you can use. In recognizing Ishvara is different from me, I cannot be Ishvara. I am limited. Ishvara is limitless. I don't see limitless Ishvara, but then I can understand. And so, by perception I know, pratyaksha, that I am limited. And by inference I can arrive at the Ishvara. I cannot be Ishvara, Ishvara cannot be I. Bhedagrahakani bhaderan, therefore, this Bhedagrahakani pramanani. The pramanas that in fact perceive the Bheda or the duality, they seem to contradict what the Shruti says, that Atma and Brahman are identical. Shrutepi Atmana Brahmatve Purnatva Adarsanat. Even though Shruti says Atma is Brahman, I don't see Purnatvam, the wholeness of myself. Ataha prasankhyanena atmasamskaratata vakyasedi ched. Therefore, Tattvamasi Mahavakya does not reveal, is not able to, is not by itself capable of liberating me, but by samskara. So, by same thing here, then now the prasankhyanena. Therefore, prasangya is you to repeat this vakya, and that will create some adrushta. Thing is that when you keep repeating Aham Brahmasmi, they will create some adrushta which will give you further strength, along with knowledge. When that is added, then that can bring about moksha. Knowledge itself doesn't have the ability, totally. Knowledge needs the assistance of the adrushta, the power generated by repeating the sentence, that the moksha happens. So this is the Purva Paksha. Tatra Uttaramaha. We have not read that third. Pratyakshadini badheran Krishnaladi supakavat Ajakshadini nibhairetaihi Katham syad vakyabadhanam. So Krishnaladishu pakvat pratyakshadini badheran. Like cooking the gold particles, our experience is particles don't get cooked, then the cooking has to be interpreted in a different way, that it is meant to impart some special ability to the gold particles. So here also, akshajadivihi etaihi aksha. Aksha means sense organ. Akshajadivihi. So by the knowledge that you get by aksha or sense organs, etaihi katham syad vakyabadhanam. How can the perception negate the meaning of what Shruti says? So, how can perception, your experience is not capable of negating or contradicting what the Upanishad says? See, Tika says, Bhavet evam. What you say would have been right. So we don't experience limitlessness. So how that limitlessness is not a reality. I don't experience. It's not pratyaksha, I am limited. I experience only a separateness between myself and Brahman. Bhavedevam. What you say would have been all right. Yadi kartruttvadi pratibhasasya pratyaksha pramanata syat. This is based on your conclusion that I am a karta. You say that it is my experience that I am a limited being. Why do you say that? Because I am a karta bhokta. So, I think that I experience myself as karta bhokta. That is called pratyaksha. Bhavedam yadi kartrutvadi pratibhasate pratyaksha pramanata syat. Is it that the perception of sense organs reveal the kartrutva? Or is the kartrutva pratibhasa? So that I am a karta or a doer, is it my experience? Do I experience it, or it is just pratibhasa, or just a brahma or a delusion of experience? Is it my conclusion or is it my experience? यदि कर्तृत्वादि प्रतिभासस्य प्रत्यक्ष प्रमाणता स्यात्. If kartrutva etc. was established by pratyaksha pramanam, then that would have been nature of Atma. Then what the Shruti says perhaps may be contradicted by pratyaksha. Nahi tadasti. You cannot say that the limitedness of Atma is a direct experience. You cannot say that. Adhyasta ahankaradi uparagam antarena स्वतः आत्मनि दुखित्वादि धर्म संबंध से निराकृतत्वात्. Uparaga. Just as the crystal appears to be colored because of a cloth or a colored substance which is beside it, so also Atma is felt to be dukhi or a karta bhokta. But then that ahankara or dukhitvam belongs to upadhi, which is in the neighborhood, which is in the vicinity of Atma, is like a crystal. And just as the red cloth imparts its redness to crystal and makes the crystal appear red, so also Upadhi as though imparts the limitedness to Atma and makes Atma appear limited. But you can't say, oh, that crystal is red, is my perception. I see the crystal red. That's not perception. It is in fact Brahma. Adhyastha ahankaradi uparagamantarena. The ahankara belongs to the mind, belongs to antahkarana, which is in the vicinity of the Atma, and therefore it imparts its, limitedness upon to Atma, or it makes it appear. So Atma is made to appear as karta bhokta. So therefore there is no pratyaksha pramanata of kartaham, bhoktaham, sukhiham, dukhyam. Adhyastha ahankaradi uparagamantarena svata atmani dukhitvadi dharma sambandhasya nirag. We already discussed this earlier. The dukhitvam, the dukkha doesn't belong to Atma, was all discussed earlier. Therefore, Atma in dukhitvadi dharma sambandhi nirakritatvad. We already explained a few verses behind that dukkhitva cannot belong to Atma. So these verses came only recently. 165. Okay. कुंडल्यमैति हि एतद् बाध्यत एव विवेकिना दुःखीति प्रत्यस्तद्वत् केवलाहन्द्या सह. That I am kundali. That may be a conclusion of a person who is wearing earrings, but that is superimposing upon himself the relation with kundala, possessiveness of kundala. So dukkhi also is a result of the superimposition. So this was already discussed. अतः प्रत्यक्षादि आभासैः एतैः प्रत्यक्षादि आभासैः. So the verse says akshajadi nibhaihi etaihi. Nibha means similar. Akshajadi nibhaihi. Aksha is the sense organ. So what is born of sense perception? So etaihi akshajadi nibhaihi. This dukkitvam, kartrutvam, bhoktrutvam is not real perception, it is abhasa of perception. I think that I am experiencing myself as a karta bhokta, which you are not. Kartrutva bhokta belongs to upadhi, and it appears in Atma because in the vicinity, and therefore makes Atma appear as karta bhokta. So therefore it's not that you see Atma as karta bhokta. You believe that Atma is karta bhokta. So pratyakshadi abhasa, like a crystal appears to be red. So you say, I have seen it. But there is pratyakshadi abhasa. You have seen red. That is only a result of superimposition. Because if that red colored cloth was not there, then this would not appear red. Etaihi pramanabhuta vakyavadanam katham syat. So this kind of conclusions derive from your superimposition that I am limited. Dukhyaham. How can that contradict the pramana vakya which that you are Brahman? How can that contradict? Pramana bhuta vakya bhadanam katham syat. So pratyaksha is not able to perceive the Atma anyway. Pratyaksha or perception can only perceive the idam amsha, not aham amsha. And so any conclusion you have about aham is all that is just is abhasa, is Brahman. And that cannot become the basis of contradiction or doubting what the Upanishad says. So katham syat, that's the question. In the verse 185, second line, bhadanam katham etaihi bhadanam. So ajakshadi nibhaihi etaihi bhadanam katham syat. So by these conclusions which are based on as though perception, how can they negate or contradict what the Upanishad says? Prayaje krishnalam juhoti itivat brahmajnane samsrutasya. Now see, prayaje krishnalam juhoti. So krishnalan sharpayet. You must cook the gold particles. Then there has to be an application of what to do with this. So prayaje krishnalam juhoti. Elsewhere it said that in the yaga called prayaja, they offer oblation of these gold particles. These Sanskrit gold particles are offered. So that way, itivat brahmajnane samskritasya atmana anyatra vinyoga adarsanat. So when you say that aham brahmasmi, that kind of repetition is done, and if that's how the samskara takes place, and if that samskrita atma is to use for something, we don't find application of that samskrita atma anywhere. That means atma is not to be done, there is no samskara to be done for atma, cannot be done in fact. Atma is always nitya samskrita, so samskara is not possible. Yana samskarartham vakyasya upadyate. So tattvamasi vakya or repetition cannot be of samskara of aham brahmasmi. Yeah, but the sadhyo brahmatva darshanam tu. But then how come the vakya does not produce immediate knowledge? You say the tattvamasi is pramana vakya, how come does not create in me immediate knowledge that I am Brahman? Padartham atidardhya abhavadi yuktameva iti bhava. Oh, padartham atidardhya abhavat. Yeah. Padartham atidardhya abhavat. That is because padartha mati has not taken place in you. The mati or the knowledge of the padartha of the word tattvam has not taken place in you. Takes place and goes away, Dukhi aham, etc., and then removes that mati. Even if it takes place in Shravanam, right away the Vyavahara removes that. So that dhrita does not come, dhardyam does not come, and therefore the Vakya Mahavakya does not do its job of creating that knowledge in you. So that is not the reason to say that Mahavakya is not capable. Mahavakya requires also the samskara. What samskara? Shravanam, Maranam, etc. That's samskara, not so this kind of samskara of the gold particles. Nanu evam virodita lakshana apramanya abhavepi. All right. So this apramanyam, virodita lakshanam apramanyam. Then what we experience by perception or personal experience contradicts what the Shruti says. We said, no, you don't personally experience. That is your only the confusion or bhrama, delusion that you are experiencing a limited Atma. You are not. You can't limit it. You can't experience Atma. Virodita lakshana apramanya bhavepi. So one thing is proven now with reasoning that Tattvamasi Vakya is not apramanam because it contradicts perception, that there is no contradiction there. Syad anutpatti lakshanam apramanyam. But a pramana should immediately create clear knowledge. Eyes are pramanam to reveal the color. It's not that I look at this cloth and then after 5 minutes the knowledge takes place that this is orange. Knowledge takes place immediately, meaning the eyes reveal. So it is the job of pramana to reveal the nature of the object. That doesn't take any time at all. As soon as the contact takes place between the pramana, the means of knowledge, and the object of knowledge, then the knowledge takes place. Here Mahavakya is pramana. And I am the one who is listening to that and when it doesn't take place. So I wonder whether Mahavakya is pramana. So if eyes do not arrive at the knowledge that this is orange, maybe there is something wrong with the eyes. So that similarly, if Mahavakya does not generate in me the knowledge I am Brahman, maybe something wrong with Mahavakya. Anutpatti lakshanam apramanyam vakya sedi. Already it was mentioned earlier words, but anyway, so anutpatti. Sadyo brahmat brahmatva darshanam. That means immediately you don't see brahmatva of the Atma. Here it says, okay, the knowledge that I am Brahman does not take anutpatti. So one of the problem with it cannot be called pramana if it does not create the knowledge of the object. Eyes cannot be called pramana if it does not create the knowledge of the orangeness of this cloth does not take place. Then eyes are not pramana. For example, I touch this, but the knowledge of the orangeness will not take place. Therefore, touch is not the pramanam for this color. Or I try to taste it and smell it, etc. They don't create the knowledge. They are not pramanam. So pramana should create immediate knowledge. And anutpatti lakshanam. So then you say that ears are not pramanam for knowing the color of this cloth. And touch is not the pramanam for knowing the color. Anutpatti lakshanam. Because the knowledge doesn't occur. It will never occur. Regardless of how much you touch. And whatever you do with your skin or with the fingers, that knowledge that this is. So a blind person will not know this is an orange color. He will know that this is cloth and this kind of cloth. Whatever you can know by the feeling of touch, that he will know. But there is no way that he will know that this is orange cloth. That knowledge will not take place. That means he doesn't have that pramanam for knowing the colors. So, anutpatti lakshanam apramanyam. So, pramanyam, that a given entity is not pramanam because it does not generate knowledge. Vakyasya, even after listening to Mahavakya, the knowledge that Aham Brahmasmi doesn't take place. Purvadi Shankare Dukhyasmiti. दुःख्यस्मीति सति ज्ञाने निर्दुःखीतिर्न जाय. So what is it? No, निर्दुःखीति न जायते प्रत्यक्षादिनिभत्वेपि वाक्यान्न व्यभिचारतः. दुःखी अस्मि इति सति ज्ञाने. सो दुःखित्वादि भानस्य उक्तरीत्या प्रत्यक्षादि आभासत्वेपि दुःखी अस्मि इति विरोधगन्धिनि ज्ञाने सति. So all right. So dukkhitvadi bhanasya. So that I am dukkhi, you cannot call it pratyaksha jnana. So earlier said that aham dukkhi is not pratyaksha jnanam that can contradict aham brahmasmi. Iti uktaritya pratyakshadi avasatvepi. So dukkhi aham is not pratyaksham, it is pratyaksha abhasa. But दुखी अस्मि इति विरोधी गंधिनी ज्ञाने सति. So virodhi gandhini jnane sati. There is at least a gandha or a touch of virodha that I am dukkhi. If sukha is my nature, then that I am dukkhi definitely contains some element of contradiction from what the Upanishad says. Vakyat nirdukhi iti vijnanam na jayate. So when dukkhi asmi, this virodha jnana obtains in me that I am dukkhi, then when they say you are Brahman, that vakya, nirdukhi iti vijnana na jayate. Vakya cannot create the knowledge that I am nirdukhi. Because dukhi aham, I already have a knowledge about myself, which is of a nature the opposite to what the Upanishad says. So dukhi asmi iti jnane sati jnane nirdukhi iti na jayate. This is the first line, is Purvapaksha. Then the Tika says, Purva siddhataya pratyakshasya asanjata virodhitvena prabalimasti abhipraya. Another kind of an argument here. That Purva siddhataya, that I am dukhi is something that I know from the birth. Now you tell me that I am Brahman, I am nirdukhi is what you tell me now. But I am dukhi is something that I know from the birth. So this knowledge I am dukhi is purva siddham is already established much earlier. So then the knowledge that took place earlier cannot be negated by knowledge that takes place later. Or should it be or should not be? So purva siddhataya pratyakshasya asanjata virodhitvena. So that asanjata virodhitvena, pratyakshasya asanjata virodhitvena prabalimasti abhipraya. So pratyaksha has created this knowledge that dukkhi iti. So that time it is not contradicted at all by another knowledge, nirdukhi. And now you are telling me it is nirdukhi, so how can this nirdukhi have prabalyam as compared to dukhi aham, which was so far went unchallenged? So Dushayati says, so pratyakshadi nibhatvepi vakyat na vyavicharata iti. So pratyakshadi nibhatvepi. Dukkhittva is not pratyaksham. There is no pratyakshadi nibhatve, but still it is a knowledge that has already been existing here. Vakyat na vyavicharataha. Na vyavicharataha. That's the answer. pratyakshadinivatvevi vakyat na vyabhicharatah. But there is vyabhichara also, that I am dukhi is not a consistent knowledge, by the way. So, where the vyabhichara is will tell, next verse will tell us. But it's not that I constantly experience I am dukhi, 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 but it's svabhava. Then svabhava will never change. If dukkhitvam is my svabhava, then I will always experience it. But there is vyabhichara. There are times when I don't experience dukkhitvam. I may even experience sukhitvam. Therefore, dukkhitvam is not a consistent conclusion about myself or consistent experience of myself. Therefore, it cannot negate what the Upanishad says that you are not dukkhi. So, vyabhichartha. Na vyabhichar. Pratyakshadinivatvepi vakyad na vyabhicharatah. So, nirdukkhi na jayate vakyat pratyakshadinivatvepi. So, from Mahavakya, the knowledge nirdukhi does not arise, and therefore it is not pramanam. Says vyabhicharatah. That dukhi aham asmi iti sati jnane. You can't say that I have the knowledge that I am dukhi because vyabhicharatah. There are times when you find yourself not dukhi. And so dukhi aham asmi, that cannot be called to be knowledge about Atma because it is contradictory many times. And therefore, it cannot even call pratyakshadi nibhatvepi. It is like comparable to or apparently pratyaksha. That Vivichara will be stated, we'll see in the next verse. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kratau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah. Ishvaro Gururatmedi Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.